participants, our next speaker, Alina from Czech Republic. She is a corporate speaker at SAM Rush. So let me have a small brief about her. She is an overall 10 years of experience in management and sales across several pan-E and lead generation programs for a range of blue-chip technology organizations, which makes her sessions highly business-oriented and very practical. When Alina is diving into the latest content marketing strategies, she always enjoys the blogging about the personal development and motivation. So it's quite interesting to have you with us. Alina, the time is yours.
Guys, such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So the topic of today's conversation is around emotional marketing that connects customers to brand. So we are going to definitely tackle into some of the most important elements. As I have already been introduced, I will just definitely skip this part. And I'm going to jump to the summary of our today presentation. We are going to tackle into emotions in digital marketing, and particularly emotional intelligence, how to control those emotions. We are going to go ahead and look into emotional marketing and how we can build strategy that connects us with the customers. And we are going to tackle into several types of emotional content that will help you engage better with your customer and unlock the revenue. We are going to close this session with some trends for 2018 that we have to keep in mind when we are going in the new year. So are you guys ready? We are going to kick off with emotions and emotional intelligence. So what it is, what are emotions actually? According to the scientists, emotions are cognitive processes. In a nutshell, they are feelings that work with our behavior and psychological system, and they actually activate our reactions. Let's take fear, for example. Fear announces us when a noise is happening of a potential danger. And that danger can create a reaction in our body. Either we escape the room, either we search for something to defend ourselves. And this is how emotion functions. Basically, we have lots of models. I have in a photo that you could see on the screen, Plutchik model, which contains 8 basic type of emotions. And out of those emotions, another complexity of them. And this is how human beings function. Scientists went ahead and said, well, happiness and joy are the first emotions we actually react to. In a nutshell, when our mothers are smiling to us, we will instinctively smile back to our mothers. So we already reactivate and activate inside of ourselves during our life all sorts of emotions. And for this reason, it's very important to stick to the positive ones, to keep on perpetuating them. Now, how we actually can recognize emotions? Various ways. We have facial expression, we have vocal expression, textual expression, hand movement, blood pressure, heartbeat, and so many other ways. Facial expression is extremely important when it comes to the eyebrows areas, the mouth areas. The vocal expression talks about the speed, the calmness of the person, the engagement level. The textual expression in the digital world is the most important component, because there we are able to understand the key elements, the keywords that tells us what sorts of emotions are being expressed. Hand movement, blood pressure, heartbeat are computational elements, and many other type of ways on how to recognize emotions. Well, that's nice. It's good to know what are emotions, and it's good to know how to recognize them, but how we can actually work with them, how we can control them. Now, here's the game. Emotional intelligence. The slides are moving not the way I want them. So emotional intelligence, it is the methodology to do so. In 1995, Daniel Goleman, which is called the father of emotional intelligence, has designed this trend. And he has defined it as the ability to identify, assess, and influence yours and others' emotions. And why is that important? Well, he went ahead and he split emotional intelligence as a term in 4 main areas. First one is self-awareness. Second one is self-management. Third one is empathy. And the fourth one is the social skill set. Self-awareness, it is the human ability to understand what are you feeling and why you are feeling the way you are feeling. Self-management, it is the human ability to literally manage those emotions. particularly the negative one, not to stand in the way of our, goals, achievements, and self-purpose, and so on and so forth. Empathy, it is the human ability to understand another person and basically connect with them at a way deeper level. And social skill set, the other three elements we spoke before, match all together in a social skill set with the purpose of building meaningful relationship. Now, this is wonderful. And if you look at the scheme, the first two elements, self-awareness and self-management, they are self-centered. So it's in our hands first to identify and then to manage those emotions. And the other two elements, which is empathy and social skills, they are related to other people. If we don't understand how we feel and we are not able to control that, how we can go ahead and understand another person, how we can go ahead and build that relationship that we are aiming. And in terms of particularity of emotional marketing, it is extremely important, not only as human being, but as organization as well, to first self-center ourselves, to first understand ourselves in order to connect with other people. You see, if you understand the way you are feeling and behaving in certain situation, when you are watching a video or when you are reading a very engaging or emotional piece of content, then you react just like a proxy for other people's feelings. So what that has to do with emotional marketing, how we can actually define that. So let's go ahead and look at what emotional marketing it is. All right. Jonas Sachs actually said that good marketers see consumers are complete human beings with all their dimension real people have. And that's what we need to do too. Now, emotional marketing, it is simply an arousal process that induces to your audience the purchase of a product or a service. And it is split as purchase decision of customers into two areas, functional and emotional. Now, functional is very simple. You need a product because of its functionality, but emotional because of the connection that you have with that product. When it comes to types of purchase decision, we split it in two areas. There are two types, emotional and logical buying habits. The emotional one are the ones customers respond based on music, on sound, and visual websites. They usually trigger a very fast and impulsive buying habit, and it's better to be tailored for a mobile browsing. While the logical one is very strictly connected with the functionality of the product you are looking for. It is more slow, more analytical, and of course it requires a lot of explanation, feature, price comparison, and it's better when it's on a PC, on laptop. It should be more text-based kind of a description. So you see, when customers are emotionally invested into your brand, not only that they will purchase your product, but they will be the one that will be less price sensitive, and they will be becoming actually your brand ambassadors, the ones that they will keep on promoting your brand without any kind of a depth behind it. Even so, in saturated markets, let me see if I can scroll this down. The desires are more important than the needs. Thus, the emotions become the predominant component. So what you actually can go ahead and do as an organization, whether you're a B2C, whether you're a B2B, how you can apply emotional marketing to your brand and how you can attach your consumers to it. So let's have a look at that. Now, Hallmark, it is a very famous company. They've built over centuries a very interesting program that connected their audience with the brand. And they've done that through very interesting elements. There are actually 5 stars. It's called Hallmark Value Star System. And they implemented emotional marketing a long time ago. They've been kind of a pioneers. And many companies adopted this emotional marketing model within their organization. They split it into money and product as being the traditional marketing elements, and then the other 3 elements, as in experience, equity, and energy, as being the emotional component. Now, how we can actually explain them, what each one of them means, let's have a look. Literally, we are having money and product as the 2 traditional elements of marketing, and they are answering several questions. In terms of money, we are going to ask ourselves as consumers, is the product affordable? Is it offered at a competitive price? Are there any promotions or even discounts that are compelling for me to actually purchase that product? When it comes to the product, I'm going to ask several questions. Do I really want it, that product, that service? Does it have the proper features? And does it do the job that I really want it to be done? Very simple, right? This is what the companies have been focused on it all the time. Now, when it comes to the emotional part of it, they went ahead and developed three areas: equity, experience, and energy. And they call that the carrying index. Equity: does the company share my values? Am I feeling that company? Experience: did I have a very interesting experience with the company when I interacted with them? Did they serve me well? Did they treat me well? Energy: does the company respect my time and value? Are they really respecting me as a person before anything else? Out of all these elements, equity is the most important. Before you actually go ahead as an organization and match your values with your audience values, you need to win their trust. And trust is actually the most important component on top of every single bit and byte. It's been said that retaining just 5%, only 5% more customers, you can boost your profits by 95%. That's huge. 95% boost of profits just by building loyalty. And you can only do so not with the traditional marketing that tells you, well, my product is cheap or has the greatest features on the market. It is being done through trust, values, and emotional connection. And well, Hallmark knew that, and many companies actually adopted their model as being extremely successful. So, if you're a B2B and you say, well, B2C have more chances actually connecting faster with their customers because they are at hand, but I'm a B2B business. So what is in it for me? Well, B2B purchases are 50% more likely to buy a product or a service when they actually see a personal value. And what you need to do as a B2B organization, you need to focus on two elements: professional and personal rewards. You need to have the anticipation of both elements within your campaigns, within your content, within your social media engagement. The audience and your consumers need to see both of those ones. So let's go ahead and see some strategies, what we actually can do in terms of content and emotional marketing to be able to apply it as soon as possible and start triggering this kind of, connection with our audience. Before anything else, there are four elements we need to tackle into it. We spoke earlier about emotional intelligence, and we haven't done that in vain. If you guys recall it, there were about four elements that we needed to understand, which is self-awareness, self-management, empathy, and social skills. When we come to emotional intelligence applied in digital marketing, there are four areas to look at it. First, and the most important, actually the critical one, it is to understand your audience, and not only the demographical part of it. It is very important, but the most important is how they feel and how they act. Then assess your audience needs through their emotions. Connect with them at a deeper level through storytelling, experience sharing, and then maintain that engagement and connection with your audience through social media and your constant content creation. Now, let's have a look at first element, which is the most critical one, understanding your audience. Obviously, the first element is to look at geo-distribution, traffic sources, social networks, and you can do that making use of Google analytical tools or SEMrush tools that can tell you as well where they are coming from, what particular keywords attracts them towards your website, and it's very important to know that. Then you can go ahead and listen to your audience online, and the most critical one, the feedback they provide. Here is an example of an organization that does listen to their customers. Someone was asking for a particular product that they actually love and they can't seem to find it anymore. And the company went ahead and said, let's have a look where you can still find that. Where do you shop? What do you need? How we can make that happen to you? And this is how your brand should be always focused on what your audience is saying. Obviously, you can go ahead and improve your piece of content by using tools like SEO ideas or content tool template. And you can sneak peek as well at what your competition is doing on the market. You can look at their strategy, you can look at their piece of content, and the most important, at their strategical aspect. You can make use of strategic ideas, of backlink ideas, technical SEO ideas, semantics and content ideas, and user experience idea. This is vital to keep on going ahead your competition. Then you can go ahead and track that progress on social media. We are great into social media tracker and brand monitoring tool. You will never miss a piece of comment and you will never miss what's going on social media. Everything condensed in one place, and you can go ahead and see that in a timely manner, so you could always adjust and respond to your customer in a due time. So let's have a look at the pieces of content that you need to create in order to keep your audience engaged. We spoke earlier at the beginning of our presentation about two types of purchasing decision, an emotional and a rational component. Now, the emotional one is the one that creates that fast buying type of product. Let me give you an example to understand. Apparel or fashion, that's a very fast and impulsive type of purchase. So what sorts of content do you need to actually create to be able to get there? So we have awareness in the left side, that actually it's more entertaining type of content. And we have the impulse towards the purchase, which is the inspirational element. You can make use of a lot of pieces of content, like the ones that are branded videos, quizzes, games, widgets, and then you can move towards community forum, celebrity endorsements, or even reviews. Towards the bottom of the graphic, we have the rational aspect, the one that they are, utilitarian. When you're buying let's just say a computer or a washing machine, that requires time. So your type of content, it should be more towards educating your audience and convincing your audience to purchase. And you have over there a lot of content types that you could create. Let's take education side. You have infographic, article, ebooks, press releases. And when we go towards the convincing side, we have the product features, we have case studies, checklists, webinars, lots of elements. Let's have a look at some top ideas that you can go ahead and do. Want to build awareness? You need to have short and easy content to consume. And that starts with emotional headlines, videos, and tweets. Here is an example of a very emotional headline where a little girl with a rare illness performs with the New York City Ballet. She will melt your heart. I will feel compelled to click on the video and watch it. That's a very simple example. Do you want to raise interest that engage rather than sales? Make use of blogs, webinars, videos, case studies, and articles. And if you wonder what is the emotional component, in all of it, in absolutely all of it. In the picture in the left side, you will see in a real life situation exactly how companies started to use emotional marketing. For instance, here is a shop I actually entered when I was in the airport in Amsterdam. And I was looking around, and then when I actually reached to the area of cosmetic, I was blown away that each section of the cosmetic had a tagline that I felt really compiled, not only to read, but I felt really connected to it. For instance, this one, open your arms if you want to be held, open your heart if you want to be loved. We all want to be loved. So company already started to connect to the audience at a deeper level. They just don't sell cosmetic only. They sell a dream. They sell a goal. They try to enter in the heart of the consumer. Needless to say, I bought the product because I really felt engaged. And I liked as well, and I took a photo just because I wanted to show with you it's happening not only in the digital world, but in the real life too. Let's have a look at how you can build trust and how you can influence decisions. Make use of white papers, ebooks, online forums, or social media engagement. Those are vital type of content types and engagements that you could create to keep that connection, mostly for the rational side of your products. And here is an example of Samsung Mobile USA. If you enter on their Facebook page, you will notice that absolutely every single content piece that they create, it is only emotional. They actually made commercial, or they try to promote one of the cameras of their mobile. But what they've done, they took a photo that everyone feels connected to. And if you look at the comments on the right side, everyone talks on how it is great to walk on a beach, to feel the sand on your foot. So everyone dives into the feeling that you have when you see that photo. And in the back of your mind, it will state only that Samsung has that great photo quality that is being associated with the feelings that you're having when you are, on the beach, on a sunset or sunrise, and so on and so forth. So this is how it functions. Trends for 2018, we looked at emotional intelligence and emotions, how actually functions with emotional marketing, and 3 types of pieces of content you can always create to be able to get into it. But what 2018 brings us? Are we in tune already? Are we prepared to face our audience? Let's have a look at what's going on in 2018. So in 2018 and moving forward towards 2020 and so on, brands will become supplying centers of emotional energy, because emotions are literally a new universal type of language that everyone speaks and understands. And they will become that center that spreads emotions and connects, brings audience towards them. We are moving from mission of an organization to an inner purpose. And you see, here is an example. Unilever already did that. They changed their mission into add vitality to life. And they took several of their brands and run a lot of emotional campaigns and a lot of adverts that speaks in this language. Dove, I choose to be beautiful. Omo, 30 is good. It speaks to the person. It touches the heart of the person that's concerned. It doesn't speak about the product, speaks about you as a human. We are moving from consumer engagement towards emotional attachment. In the chart that you see over here, this is a study with valences from 1 to 100 that scientists has recently run to identify that customer engagement is important, but emotional attachment is on top of it. And it brings you brand loyalty and price premium. And you have 3 elements that they connected with: affection, connection, and passion. And here is an example of all the emotions that the participants to the studies have exhibit that actually makes them attached to a brand: affectionate, love, peaceful, friendly, attached, bonded, connected, passionate, delighted, and captivated. Very simple, right? In order to create that emotional attachment, make use of keywords as such into your content creation using SEMrush tool, for instance, and generate that level of affection, connection, and passion that will lead to what Hallmark told us earlier: brand loyalty and obviously price premium. Be part of your consumer lifestyles, dreams, and goals. And that goes back to understanding your consumer at a deeper level, which is the emotional component. And that's what I was talking about earlier. It's not enough only to look at demographics. It is very important to understand them. And how to do so? Well, here is an example again from one of my trips, and I was completely blown away that companies already do that. In the lobby of the hotel, there was a machine that allowed customers to tell all their secrets, so-called, but it was literally the feedback that the company wanted to hear. And it was in a privacy. And if you really enjoyed it, it was okay to give a like, let's put it this way. On top of that, dreams and lifestyles and goals has been attached to every single piece of content that I've seen within that hotel. I've ordered coffee, and the coffee came with a very small little chocolate. And in the first image, you see the front part of the chocolate. It contained a photo from the hotel itself, but from a corner that I actually missed until I got this coffee. And the hotel had a lot of paintings from a specific artist, and the theme of that art, it was related to childhood. And the back of the chocolate, it was written 3D wall painting childhood by Leon Kier. Make a picture from the right corner and become part of the illusion. So you see, I've already been part of it. Needless to say, I went and I took a selfie because I felt inspired. They were doing the campaign for kids and they were talking through art. And the only thing that they ask you to do is to take a selfie. I was brilliant. It was emotional and inspiring. And this is how I, of course, been part of their game. And not only that they knew exactly how I feel about a hotel, but they knew as well that I'm into art, that I'm touched by child's campaigns and so on and so forth. So this is how it's working actually. So let's have a look at the next 2018 trend, the emotional expression. It's happening for a long time already. It will carry on. Here is an example of Coca-Cola. Share a feeling, share a Coke. Love, happiness, wink, kiss, put a little love in your heart. Going back to our first initial emotion, happiness and joy that we as a human react because our mom smiled to us. Here is how brands connect to us at a very deep and basic kind of emotion level. Touch the intangible. You see, in a real world, you had examples from shops, from the hotel, from left and right. But what you can do in a digital world, make use of meaning, symbols, music, images, colors, and different kind of element that will trigger that emotional connection. We are moving from all these elements that are marketing traditional towards cognitive and empathic marketing that's using artificial intelligence elements, and that's not something that you are not familiar with. For instance, we are moving from selling to improving people's life. And if you recall the chart of elements with type of contents, here is another one. LinkedIn or Home Depot, they're educating their audience. And you may wonder yourself, well, why should I get a lot of your secrets? It's because they want you to be part. They use empathy. They understand your need and hunger for information, so they provide that. In exchange, you get emotionally attached to the brand. The stories will become hyper-personalized in content and services. And here is another example of literally a campaign run again by Dove, which quite a lot emotionally invested. And they were speaking about athletes with kind of a negative reviews. And they actually made that for every single type with different photos for different type of athletes. And they put down each photo a comment that the athletes got on social media. People massively got connected to it, and they went ahead and defended them. They immediately felt emotionally compelled to comment and so on and so forth. So it went viral. We are moving towards intelligent, emotion-oriented e-commerce system. And here is another example of a recent studies, which they are using mathematical formulas, emotional intelligence, and of course, artificial intelligence. You have on the first column, which is this one. Oh, okay, sorry for that. Let's go back, presentation. Here you go. So you have in the first column the input, where you are gathering the emotional signal, you are collecting them, and you, through speech recognition, face capture, you're logging those files, hand tracking and sensor system, process that data through the language processor or face reader, and obviously put them into an emotional recognition system that will tell you, well, is my customer feeling positive, negative about my product when he is surfing on my website? How he's feeling, sad, really excited? Is he looking like showing interest into my product? And then, let's move this slowly. And then they combine an e-commerce system with an e-commerce customer and the intelligent emotion recognition. They can tell you as well whether the purchase has been stopped because there were like some elements outside of the engagement, such as noise, computer speed, and so on and so forth, whether your customer is moving towards a purchase or not, and why. So this is the future. This is how it's look like. This is how it's looking like. And obviously, we all know after this kind of a presentation and information sharing that people don't buy goods and services. They buy relationship, stories, and end of the day magic. So that being said, guys, I really wish you a successful 2018, particularly emotional and rich in lots of content that will create emotional attachment, not only emotional engagement. Thank you all for listening. And if you do have questions, feel free to ask me.